Good morning. Thanks for joining me on this beautiful, chilly autumn morning, at least here in the southeastern United States where I am recording from. I have a great new guest on today. He is from Bird Streets. This is really exciting here to hear somebody from a band called Bird Streets. Find out the reasoning behind that and everything else. So let's kick this off. I'm guessing he's from New York City. So let's see what's going on here from the Big Apple, possibly, or it could be on the road. Well, thanks for
Click it.
getting up this early in the morning. I'm sure
Oh, no problem.
yeah, sure it's tough. Up in New York today?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn.
Cool. Yeah, beautiful over there. I'm sure getting a little chillier now at this time of the year.
This is the nice time of year. I like it when it's starting to cool off.
Yeah, New York's great at this time of the year, and I like
Oh
it
yeah,
around to the holiday season too. I've visited, done the ice skating, all that fun stuff over there.
yeah, yeah. It's no place like it.
Yeah,
Where are you located?
I'm in Atlanta.
Okay, I haven't been in.
Nice hub. The whole world passes through here. I
I've been
always,
in so long. I've been meaning to get back down there. It's been a while.
yeah, a lot of good venues here too. If you
Yeah.
want to, the more intimate ones are there, and then we have obviously the huge arenas, stadiums, all of
Hmm.
that. So very, very cool. So yeah, are you going out on the road in support of your new project?
Working on some stuff. Yeah, working on some stuff for. We've got a couple things, through the end of the year, some like solo stuff, and then we're going to work on some stuff for the whole band, hopefully for the new year.
Yeah, so the new album is out and getting good reception, I'm sure. It's just a great collection that came together. How long did this all come together from conception all the way through recording and mixing and getting it out?
This record we started this album in May of 2021. It was like the first travel of any kind, like air travel that I did after COVID,
Yeah.
lockdowns started to ease up. It was like I called Jason. It's like, "Hey, you want to do another thing? And do you want to be in each other's, bubble?" That was the thing we were all doing. You had your bubble. You had your like five or six people you could hang out with. Um, and be relatively safe, with the whole thing. So yeah, we hunkered down for a couple weeks, and we got like five songs, I think, done that first chunk. And was the idea we'll come back to it. The first record was kind of the same way. It was like we did a few here and a few there, but that album we did within the course of a year. This album stretched out over four.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, well, because it was, we didn't have a full like plan in our heads. We just were like, let's just do some songs when we can. And and as we were kind of going, it was just taking longer in between, and we get together and we do one or two maybe here or there. But sometimes due to life stuff, and also his schedule got crazy because he joined the St. Vincent band about a year into that. So like suddenly he was in Beck and St. Vincent, both
Oh
bands
yeah.
that are touring constantly.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
um,
every time you turn around, there's a new Beck relays. Yeah, St. Vincent's
yeah,
busy too.
he,
Wow.
he was he was working so much. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it just made it a little harder. And I'm in New York and he's in LA, so just the logistical part of it got in the way. So we just kind of did it when we could. Um, and in the meantime, I had another record I was finishing up that came out a couple of years ago. So like that, there wasn't as much of a rush once that was in the place. And but eventually we got around to wrapping it up. We technically thought we finished it, I think, in at the beginning of 24, and then it took almost a year to get back to properly mix it, and we did some more work on it then. But
Yeah, and that's Jason's studio out in LA.
yeah,
So
he's got a
nice.
place in Echo Park, which is fantastic, and it's basically all the gear he's been that he's made his last like several records with, and everything he works on goes through that stuff. So it's got his signature sounds and things like that, which is what's what you look for in a Jason Falkner project.
Yeah, and then you do additional work and you have your own home studio as well.
Yeah, I do some stuff at home. I can't like really do. I'm in Brooklyn. I'm in an apartment. I can't really do drums and things like that here. Not that I haven't done them, but I can't really.
Yeah,
I don't
neighbors are
really
like,
have the
what?
apparatus, you know, but I can do a lot of overdubs. I do a lot of mixing and then editing and things like that here.
Yeah, and getting the band together. Now, Bird Streets, I'm sure people are asking, does that name come from? Is it like Big Bird from Sesame Street or something like that?
Well, that's the funny thing when I search for it on, when I'm trying to put music on like Instagram or something like that. I search for Bird Streets and Big Bird is always top of the list.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I got to do something about that. I got to make a phone call to the Children's Television Workshop and see if we can make a deal. Um, no, Bird Streets is a neighborhood in the Hollywood Hills in Los Angeles. It's a very posh, very well-to-do neighborhood where people like, Leonardo DiCaprio and Jay and Beyonce, they have places there, just 20, $25 million palatial mansions. And when I was making the first Bird Streets record with Jason, I was most of the time camping out at my friend's apartment in Hollywood, one of like the seediest streets in Hollywood, like where like the there was a lot of hooker activity and stuff like that right outside the window, and I'm sleeping on a deflated air mattress, and there's cockroaches, and the whole thing was just like really, it was like squalor, and I came upon that neighborhood thing and just kind of liked the sound of it, and thought there was an interesting sort of juxtaposition with the the way the record was being made. I don't know. Um, and then that was when I first was out there, and then I started using the name for my live band in New York a couple years later, and then it just sort of turned into this other thing, and I was like, well, maybe it's just my blanket term for whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, got a good ring to it as well. So doing
It look
this
it
in
looks good on a
addition.
t-shirt. I always say it looks
Yeah.
good on. I'd rather wear a Bird Streets t-shirt than a John Brodeur t-shirt,
Yeah.
personally. Anyway,
Yeah, very catchy. I'm sure. I'm sure the merch is probably pretty sweet too with, using that description. I'm sure
yeah,
there's, some good stuff there.
that's some cool stuff. Yeah.
That's where you make the money is the merch and then of course the live shows. It's not
So
so
I'm
much of
told.
the yeah, that's it's been like drummed in my head. I'm talking to all these musicians over all these years. I'm 5 years in with this
Yeah.
program, and it's like every single time. It's like, yeah, I need to get out there. It's just recording. Yeah, great to do, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's where it's at the live gigs.
It is, and the merch and all those things. At the level I'm at, it's I don't know. Yeah, recorded music is rough these days. We'll just say that there's not a lot of options, with the streaming and everything. So, but it's a necessary thing to do. And as a songwriter, uh, a creator of new music, I want to always be making new music and always be releasing new music. So you just want to keep making stuff, which helps having a home studio and helps having friends in LA who have studios in their homes and things like that. It's just like you find ways to keep making stuff because
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
that's the fundamental part of it. We're artists, make art. I didn't get into this to make merch.
yeah.
I yes to play live shows. Yes, yes, absolutely. But and merch is fun, but and there's an artistic element to it. But it's all about the music for me.
Yeah, it's always the battle between art and commerce. It's like, yeah, you got to put food on the table, but like art is just,
Yeah.
this very complex thing. Where does that inspiration come to you to write songs? And I always ask, what comes first,
Hmm.
lyrics, melody?
I don't have a firm answer to the lyrics versus melody thing. It really depends on the song. A lot of ideas I get just kind of walking around. I take long, long walks around Brooklyn, um, or whatever, wherever I am at the time. Um, and sometimes something will come and pop into your head. And a lot of times, the seed for a song for me is, excuse me, a phrase will come into my head, and I'll just kind of repeat it like you do when you start to obsess over something, and it'll connect itself to a melody. It'll just sort of
Yeah.
find a tonality, and then I'm like, okay, that's going to be a song, and then you just start
Yeah.
developing it in a guitar or piano or something, and start figuring out how that's going to work, and that's usually how things progress. But sometimes I'll write a whole chord progression and have melodies and come back to it on the lyrics. But I tend to more often than not have lyrics, when I'm starting, because that's the singer-songwriter way,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
When something
Yeah, I
comes to
don't
your head, do you run to the phone or go old fashioned and hit the notebook
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just to get it
I
down?
go into notes. Yeah, go into notes or go into voice memos and sing a thing into that or something like that. Yeah, I've got a million voice memos in my phone of just like half songs and things like that, and little ideas. But those are great. Also, there's plenty that are unfinished. I don't finish every idea. I don't know anybody who does, but those are also great when I'm working with, a producer or something, and I don't know what's worth pursuing. I've got all these little ideas, and I'm like, hey, well, I have this little thing, and sometimes they'll be like, finish that, or I have this idea for it, and you end up doing a co-write or something like that. Those can be great for those situations.
So in this collection, this new one, the escape artist, how much does that come through? Like Jason coming in, does he co-write with you or helps you finish lyrics, melodies, or
Um,
your team?
uh, yeah, on the first record, there was a lot more of that. On the first record, we there was more songs where I brought in like something that was half done, or three-quarters done, and he would, help me write a bridge or refine the chorus or something. There was a lot of times on that record where he would like send me home. He would like, "This is good. See if you can like top it," and I'd go back and try to write something different for a chorus or something. So he was more of a coach in some senses, but like, yeah, there was some points where he came in and just kind of wrote a whole bit, and I was like, "That's great," or I didn't know how to get out of a song, and he was like, "Boop." uh Good, it's a good working relationship. On this record, we there was a couple like that. I think there's two songs where we properly did like a co-write where we sat down and worked out things, but mostly on this record, because more of the way that it was composed and done sort of almost more remotely, because a lot of it was done, yeah, because we were just kind of catching days whenever we could, you know what I mean. We didn't have a lot of as much time as, to just kind of sit there and mess with things like we did on the first record. So I was more often than not coming in with like complete ideas, and then he was producing them in the studio. Um, but there's a couple songs where like we sat down and hashed out some things and figured out where a song was supposed to go, and felt like old times.
Yeah, you got some very interesting tracks here. And the one that really stands out to me, it's not even what would be considered your single or anything like that. One where it's all lowercase, all one word, everyone we love will go away. It's
Oh
how
yeah.
what's the inspiration on that and why the title all in lowercase all together is that kind of Bowie-esque. I remember Bowie did that changes one, changes whatever, but it's like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, that's funny because Bowie was a bit of a reference. We made a music video for that song, and that's like the last single we put out from before the record dropped, which it's doing really well actually. So technically it is a single.
oh okay.
The making it all one word was just an aesthetic choice. Um, but then somebody pointed out that it's also like very similar to a Wilco song. There's a Wilco song called "Nothing's Ever Gonna Stand in My Way" again,
Yeah.
off Summer Teeth, which is such a great record. And I think so. I think maybe subconsciously I was doing that, but it also just looked cool. It's a very indie rock thing to do.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Um,
Stylistic thing, yeah.
But that song was one of the ones we did in that first session, that first couple weeks when we first started this project, and it was very much a byproduct of that year of like COVID lockdown and anxiety and like kind of cultural paranoia that was going on. Um, Everybody was a little suspicious of everybody else. We were all keeping our distance all that time, and everybody, it kind of that kind of I just kind of channeled that into the lyric, about uh, not agoraphobia. What's the other word I wanted? I think that's the word. Is
Yeah,
it
so we had a
agoraphobia?
lot during the pandemic for sure. That's something that I think a lot of us developed.
Yeah,
Like, I don't want to
yeah,
go
yeah.
anywhere.
It's kind of that. Like it's but it's also got an element of that sort of like conspiracy theorist kind of
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I never know when someone might be watching me. It's, taking a little bit from that
Yeah.
rock while I do. But even worse, I mean, gosh, nowadays, even worse after the pandemic, it's like everybody's watching. It's like I'm not
They
that
already,
interesting. You don't need to watch me. It's
they already were. Um, that's the thing. That's the thing. I like. I'll cop to it. I have resisted to this day using Face ID on my phone, and my friends are
yeah,
like, their friends are like, they already know what you look like. I don't know
yeah.
what you think you're getting away with.
You're all over the place.
But
Yeah,
yeah, so it's like that song is just somebody kind of going down their own rabbit hole, but it's also, it's got that like everyone we love will go away is, fundamentally like about death. It's about, you know, it's a bit, that's kind of what it is. It's like at that same, because at the same time, like we were all losing people. We were all,
yeah.
we're watching people that we knew from other things, media and things like that. Just like, oh, that person's gone now from this thing that we can't explain. So it was just that sort of uncertainty of like, what's going to happen the next day, Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's
It's
so
got a little
strange.
grim there.
Yeah,
Got a little-
especially probably felt it much more in New York. I mean, like this is surreal. It's like,
Well, you
stacking
know,
bodies. I mean, this is just
yeah,
insane.
yeah. New York was a crazy place to be during
Yeah.
the lockdown. That especially that first 8 months. Like, yeah, there were like just sort of there were hospital ships.
Can you
Pulling up
believe
in the
that? Isn't it
river.
Orwellian in a way too? It's
Yeah,
just
we
so,
like we
so
haven't used this
strange.
we haven't used this thing since like the World War. Yeah, like so that was it was pretty wild out here, and you're used to walking outside, and there, you see your neighbor on the way down the stairs, and you walk out, and there's a dozen people standing outside your door, and like for months it was just like I walk out and I didn't see a person for blocks and blocks, and if you did, you crossed the street. It got really really weird here. And plus I had a friend. I was friends with Adam Schlesinger from Fountains of Wayne, and he was one of the first people of note that passed from it, like April 1st of 2020. So there's a little bit of that
Mm.
too, just like it was, there was a little personal element too, to that lyric. So yeah.
Yeah, what a time. What a time. A lot of interesting tracks here as well. Exit Plan just got some
Uh,
a little bit interesting lyric here too. It's just that I was really di doing a deep dive into, and it's just really incredibly deep. It's I'm sure how you were feeling at that moment putting that track together.
yeah, that's another one from that first crop, and that's definitely like a product of that year.
Yeah, yeah.
um, that year I was also like finished. I was completing my divorce. So that song has kind of got this double meaning.
Right, right, right. I know the feeling with, you see the therapist, hey, get on with it. It's like, easy to
Yeah,
say, harder to
yeah, but
do.
then the next line in that song is very, very specifically about like, an actual. It's a song about killing yourself, but couched in this other thing with clever lyrics. He wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to take this really dire topic and make it clever. I don't know. So yeah, kind of tying it in with the concept of leaving a relationship and trying to put something behind you like that was I don't know. I thought I was being clever, but it's a dark song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dark song with like a really pop melody. That's always my favorite thing to do. Is just make the darkest stuff just the catchiest stuff. So you find yourself humming this song, and then you're like, oh, what are the lyrics? Oh.
Yeah, that is your therapy though. Doing that, I'm sure
Yeah,
you're getting it out there, you're working it out through lyric and song, and there's no better thing than to
yeah,
do something like that to get that kind of therapy. It's like your own. You're not having to
yeah.
pay for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so important to as an artist. It's just like that's I think why a lot of us do art. It's just that's how we express the things that we can't express in other places.
Yeah, and it's done in a very positive manner. At the end of the day, you're doing something really good and it's keeping you going and you got the next thing to look forward to. So that's really cool. And
Yeah,
you're
at the
getting
end of
into
the day,
videos. You
the end of
guys
the
are
day,
doing great work. Yeah.
oh, thank you. Yeah, the videos have been really fun, especially for this record. We've made a couple really fun ones. They've all been a little different from the last, and that's the best thing I can say. Like we got to do four really very different things. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like my wife has been kind of collaborating on a bunch of it, and she directed a few of them, and
Oh, that's a good
the
team. Yeah,
mistake.
definitely.
Mistaker was a real blast to make. It was just like 2 days of me running around Brooklyn on like the hottest days of the year. It was like 95 degrees when we shot that video.
Looks like
And
you
I
have
was like
like a John Wick outfit on. It just kind of
a little
reminds me of
bit.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be kind of this like, I don't know, Hitman's not quite right, but maybe,
Yeah.
Um, it's that vibe. Just kind of we went for like kind of a 70s, thriller aesthetic. Um, And yeah, that's an elaborate. There's like 7 different sets in that video. We went to so many locations, and there's so much just like full sprinting in like expensive dress shoes. I'm just like killing myself, but it came out so good. And then yeah, and then we did a couple others that weren't quite as elaborate, but yeah, the one we did with Run for Our Lives one we did with this group called the Love Show. This they're like a dance burlesque theater troupe, um, and they had this bespoke theater that they kind of created in an old Mrs. Fields cookies shop in the Port Authority, and like in deep in the Port Authority, in the like the bus station,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
in Manhattan, the famous Port Authority, and you knock on the little door and you go in, and there's this whole other world, and that's the theater in that video, and which is such a that was a really colorful, fun experience. And then yeah, and then we did these other couple that were a little more simple, like the Everyone We Love Will Go Away is a little bit Bowie, coated with the blue suit and the white backdrop and stuff like that. And that was kind of a conscious thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. And then we had my friend B.A. Miale did It's a Start video, which is that one's just like I just sang against a green screen, and then she kind of animated this background for it.
Yeah.
Try to keep them all different, keep them interesting, keep new images coming, because I just pretty much stand there and sing. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. I was wondering, who comes up with the concept of the videos? Obviously, your wife, as a director, would have the catalyst for that. So, do you have any input into that, or just like,
Yeah, I,
I'm just
I,
gonna do what you want?
no, I mean, I have input. We collaborate. But the seeds for a couple of those things were fully, I think Mistaker that was all her idea. She basically wrote the whole thing, all the different.
Yeah,
I think I contributed a few character ideas maybe, but and I helped find a few of the people. The casting part of it, I can do the casting. Um, and Run for Our Lives, we it was a collab, but she fully directed that. That was I just basically played. That was the best day because I didn't have to do anything, just had to sing.
yeah, yeah. You got
Anytime I just have to show up and like look at the camera, I'm like, great, good, that's yeah.
the easiest performance videos. Yeah. So, getting those kind of dancers, how did you recruit them? I mean, I'm sure there's
Well, that's
zillions in
that's
New York.
that's that troupe, the Love Show, they're called. It's this woman Angela Harriel. She also built that whole theater by hand. Uh,
It's cool.
and it's her group, and she did the choreography for the different things, and well, except for the break dancing, I think he did that himself. There's a little sequence in there, and like she helped put the costume, kind of design the costumes and things like that. I can't remember how many people total are in the group, but it's kind of this beautiful cast of characters.
Yeah. It's all out there on the YouTube channel as well, where everybody could find Bird Streets on YouTube. It's really cool to see all that. Mistaker, yeah, that's really cool concept. As far as post production goes, is your wife still involved with that? How it all gets
No,
edited and
I mean, we have ideas for editing. A Mistaker, I personally did like the first edit on that.
huh,
Because it was that one had a pretty linear you know like proper storyboard, so we knew what had to happen when. um so I kind of laid that out, and then we handed it off to a friend to kind of like polish it up and make it look a little better, but and tighten up the edits. But I like to mess with those things, but then I don't know, like Run for Our Lives I started to edit, and I got about 30 seconds in, and I was like, I don't think I'm the guy for this. So like and the last video that Everyone We Love Will Go Away, was this guy David Dubinin, who I've worked with on a few of the singles for the self-titled record. He did direction and Betting on the Sun, and I just have a lot of trust in he just kind of knows how to do the top to bottom part of making a music video. So it's sort of one-stop shopping with him. But I've also just like in a lot of ways, in the same way that with music, in the last 8 or 10 years with the Bird Streets records, I've been more hands off. Like, get another producer, get somebody else to mix it, let other people have their stamp on it. Like, I used to just do everything myself, do it all at home, and you get the same thing a lot when you do that. I mean, I still do that from time to time, but like, I just have found like the best part of, not the best part maybe, but like one of the fun parts of making records, making videos, making art in general is collaboration. It's just like it's so
Yeah.
great to like to make a thing. I write the song, but let me hear what your vibe on it is. Even if that's just like a session part, a guitar player or something like, or the mix, which is the whole color of the song. When somebody else hears it, it's like those things are so important. It's just it's so fun to me to hear how somebody else processes something, and to not be so tied into my own vision all the time. It's not always that. Sometimes it is, and sometimes I know from top to bottom what I want to hear, and I can do that here. But I
Yeah.
just really have enjoyed bringing other people into the process.
It's nice to have the variety though when you go between your full studio collaborations, you bounce ideas off. I don't think one idea is better than the other, but it's nice to occasionally, hey, let's do this home solo album. I mean, Paul
Yeah,
McCartney comes to mind so big with that. He's only done it 3 times in his very long career, but
yeah,
it's really cool. I mean, I like the experimental stuff he does at home, and some
yeah,
people just don't dig that. I mean, I'm like, just open up your mind. I mean, it's really cool to see somebody who could just play any instrument and sing anything. Just
yeah.
go off and do that.
No, I mean, yeah. If you can't get down with temporary secretary, then I don't want to
Yeah.
talk to you. Come on now.
Look.
That's McCartney at his most stoned. I love those records.
Yeah, it must be nice to get to that point in your career where you could just do just about anything and get
Yeah.
away with that. A lot of artists can't do that.
Well, I mean, that's his first solo record was right out of that. I don't even think the Beatles had broken up when he made the
Yeah.
first solo record. And, that was just sort of his, big statement, like his band isn't big enough for me or whatever, I'm too big
Yeah.
for, so yeah, like he's always been you know, he's special.
Yeah, huge inspiration. I mean, to see somebody go that long and now you're
Yeah.
well into your 80s. I mean, if you asked him when he was like 25, he'd be like, "Oh, I'd be long gone by the time I hit my mid 80s."
Yeah.
It's like that's inspiration for sure.
It's, it's a relatively clean living. He hasn't eaten animals in
Yeah.
50 years. You know what I mean? Like there's something to that. I'm a vegan, so I'm like I look Paul's an inspiration in several ways, but that's one of
Yeah.
them.
I visited that part of London where his offices were at the time. This was the mid 90s, MPL
Mhm.
Communications. And curiously, there are a lot of vegan restaurants around, a lot of vegetarian. It was very good stuff too. Probably the best food in London because, yeah, the British are not so known for a lot of great cuisine, but that stuff was
London,
really good.
the British get a bad rap. It,
Yeah, they do.
I find actually on the whole when I've gone to London, um, I can't speak as much for the other cities, but I've spent more time in London than anywhere else. But like I find the food to be fantastic in
Yeah,
London. There are
yeah.
so many options, so many great places. It's better than a lot of American cities. I mean,
Well, yeah, that's true too.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they
London.
do
It's
get
a
a bad
huge
rap.
city. It's an amazing, huge city with so much culture. Of course, those things are gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, yeah, I'm sure you got options like crazy in New York, Brooklyn especially, I'm sure.
Yeah, New York is the place. I mean, there's no place quite like it. Brooklyn's fantastic. Manhattan, yeah, anywhere you go in the city, there's something, and there's something amazing to find within a block or two. That's
Yeah.
why we live here.
Yeah. So the name, the Escape Artists, where does that come from as far as like the whole theme of this album?
It kind of goes back to that, itchy, paranoid kind of vibe that I was talking about with the
Yeah.
single with Love Will Go Away. I have to say that every time I have to say Everyone We Love Will Go Away. So I have to kind of make it one word because of the way I wrote it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a run-on sentence. So I mean, as we were kind of compiling songs, starting to realize there was a body of work there, kind of realized that there was this sort of running theme of yeah, escape of like kind of like this. It was what did I say? In the post I made, it was less. I said it was less "Take Me Home," which was a
Yeah.
reference to our first single. Than it was like "Get Me the Hell Out of Here." We'd all been locked up for a year, or whatever, many months. We hadn't seen people, and it was just like this, like I gotta, just want to break and push on the walls and change it up. Um, so it had to, I think it has to do with that. There's a lot of that, even just in the song titles. Everyone will love will go away. Exit plan. Run for our lives. There's a theme. You can see it. Um,
Yeah.
uh, but then tonally also, I think a lot. Even though there's some really pretty kind of softer stuff on this record. There's also some pretty gnarly, like I don't know if I'm assuming you listen down the whole record, like
Oh yeah.
so it starts
Yeah,
with
no.
this very, I call it claustrophobic folk. It's like this. The Bedhead is like this very kind of nervous. It's got this weird kind of sharp four in it that in the chord progression that it creates this dissonance right from the top of the progression. You're like, whoa! It's this
Yeah.
strange, unsettling feeling.
Yeah,
And it's a
great opener. Yeah.
little folk song about the apocalypse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Another great
Literal
December morning. Like, oh
the
gosh.
literal apocalypse.
Yeah.
And then the record ends with Sweet Amnesia, which is just a song that's just like it starts as this kind of, essentially a power pop song that just sort of turns into like we were referencing like Mission to Burma and the Buzzcocks in that outro, which is just like this punk rock noise explosion,
It
which is
is.
something that I haven't put on a record before. So like we tried to really create this kind of world in between it,
Yeah, great closing
sonically,
track. Yeah.
that went with the vibe of the lyrics and everything.
Yeah, and it's great to end on an explosion like that because people usually like closing tracks are just these maybe more long melancholy droning tracks. But yeah,
Yeah,
great idea for sure for all of this too, and the way it wraps it up, it definitely makes a lot of sense.
yeah. I felt
Um,
like it's a nice little circle to go back to. If you were to old school put the record on repeat, like on a CD or something, it kind of feeds back into itself.
yeah, I like some lyrics in Pride is a Gun. It's
Mm,
you wish life were like that. Life is like, you wish you could do Control Z. It's like, so many times wish I could edit my life, but we can't really do that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't think I haven't really talked about that song too much, but it feels like kind of a sleeper. Like that's sort of secretly one of my favorite songs on the record. Um, yeah, I wish I could remember exactly where that all came out of. I think I had the chorus, the first chorus. I feel like I'm on the rotisserie.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish in my
Like,
life I could press Control Z, take it back to the start. Um, yeah, I just had that little thing. I was walking around with that for a couple weeks, and then it was one of those things where I had a session with Jason coming up like that week, and I was like, I have to finish a song. And one
yeah.
night, one night I just walk. I stay in Pasadena a lot when I'm in the LA area, and just go on these long walks at night, and there's nobody out there. It's East Pasadena is just like there's just nobody on the
So
streets
nobody really walks in LA. It's just
in
that is
general.
true.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but in that part of Pasadena too, which is very residential, it's just there's nobody, no humans. So just get and it's very quiet and like it's really. I wrote a lot of songs, or at least finished a lot of songs that way, just kind of walking around for 45 minutes a night, or 2 hours, or whatever it was, and just sort of repeating parts in my head and singing things into my voice memos, and that's how that song kind of developed. It was like I found myself kind of working through. I found a verse, I was like, okay, wait, here we go, and then went back to the house and found a guitar, and it
Yeah.
just sort of fell together really quickly. It was nice.
Yeah, a lot of good acoustic and then breaks out into a full jam. I like those kind of crescendos. It's just really has that vibe where it builds upon it. Yeah, I can only
Yeah,
picture Pasadena. I had an uncle who had a bar there once. It's like
Oh yeah,
many years ago. I can't, this is in the 60s and 70s. I can't imagine what it was like then. It's just, yeah, very
yeah. I don't.
interesting.
I feel like that part of town probably hasn't changed too much. I don't know what part of town he was in, but like where
Yeah.
East Pasadena is just like it's like strip mall city over there. It's like anything else in that
Uh,
part of the country, really.
yeah, that's like a plague, the strip malls. They just keep growing and growing. It's just never ends. For sure. You got a good cast of characters on this release too. And Zach Jones must be interesting. Somebody who had worked with Sting.
Yeah, Zach's been a buddy for a while. You know, I know him and Oscar, his kind of studio partner. They've been making music together for ages, but and just kind of guys I know from the old Rockwood music hall scene in New York. And Zach's played with a bajillion acts. I mean, both of them played with a Great Big World, and Zach's toured with. Oh, geez, I'm going to blank. I don't want to say anything that's not true here, but a couple years ago, was called up by Sting and joined Sting's live band for a couple years. Sting has gone back to like a trio lately with
Right.
with like Galuda, but like, um, what an incredible experience
Yeah, that has to
to play
be.
for Sting, right? Like that's
Oh,
no that's no small shoes to fill there. Yeah, so that's incredible. Both those guys are amazing to work with, and we did a couple songs at the top of right before COVID started. I think Wasted Years might have actually been from those sessions. We did like 7 or 8 songs over the course of a couple years. We did a session in early 2020 and another session in early 21, and then I've just been kind of trickling the tracks out periodically. You know, those guys worked on a few things that are on Lagoon, Let You Down, for instance, and then there was a single called On the Promenade that came out at the beginning of this year. That was those guys. Like we did these 7 songs that just were like 7 completely different worlds. So it never felt like it was going to be an album. It was like, okay, these are just sort of singles. So every once in a while, I find that I have a place on an album that nothing else is filling, and I'm just like, what about this song? So that was where Wasted Years came in on this one.
nice. Nice. And everything's available, all the releases, all on vinyl, CD, digital, everywhere you can get it.
Yeah, everything is on all the streamers, and then the CD and the vinyl are available through our website and our Bandcamp, and we're expanding that into proper distribution in the coming weeks and months. It'll be in
Hmm.
shops and on the other internet things. But in the meantime, birdstreets.com or
Excellent.
birdstreets.bandcamp.com. We have it all.
Plastic Dreams Records, which is
Yeah.
all behind that, and getting some nice pull quotes, especially from NPR. I believe that's still around. I hope it continues into the future as well. They
Yeah.
like to,
They were kind enough to feature us on the first record, and we hope that they'll, you know, be reminded that we're alive.
yeah, you're still
We
around.
hope that
Hopefully, you
we
could
hope
do
that
a
they stay
Tiny
alive.
Desk concert or something like
That'd be
that.
nice. I love that. Yeah, we also just got a thing in the AV Club, the Onions AV Club, which I've been a fan of for so long. I was like, yes, AV Club. Um,
Good.
so like, yeah, there's some nice little press things happening, which is always encouraging.
Excellent.
That people
Excellent.
are hearing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for stopping by and best wishes on this new release. Great new release, The Escape Artist, available out there wherever you get that music. And just wonderful. And your website is all one word. Is it Bird Streets?
Birdstreets.com. Yeah, birdstreets.com, birdstreetsmusic.com. They all go to the same place, but birdstreets.com will take you there.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we'll hear more from you and then hopefully some solo releases as well as time goes on here.
You won't know the difference. That's the best part.
Yeah. Oh no,
they'll
it's
all
not.
say they're all going to say Bird Streets on them.
Okay. This
That was
isn't like
my
a Phil Collins situation where the solo sounds just like the big band. It's,
that's kind of was my decision because I put sorry to extend this, but
yeah.
I put out like 3 or 4 solo records
Yeah.
prior to Bird Streets, and then make starting Bird Streets was just like a conscious decision to just
Yeah.
sort of hide myself behind a band name. that could be sort of a blanket for whatever I felt like putting out, so I didn't have to
Yeah.
like make that distinction between this is a thing and this is another thing. It's just all one all one project that way.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing
The
wrong with
brand.
that. Whether,
Yeah.
it all comes out in the wash. It's all good.
It's a brand. That's it when it comes down to it, which I hate to talk about branding and
Ugh.
all the commercial sides. Yeah, I hate it. But it does help.
I know it's so much more complicated these days. I mean, but in the old days, it was kind of obnoxious to have to deal with, the A&R and all of that, and the old traditional executives, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's all a trade-off. Now it seems like everybody could do it, and it's really hard to break out, especially with all the streamers and everything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you
that's
got
rough.
like so just I think for me, it was just like well picking one road to kind of get behind and like that's there we go. That's the name that I'm going to put on everything. So like just keep pushing that because being consistent with one it's hard to be consistent.
It is. It
As a
is.
as a as a as an artist with severe ADHD, it is it is hard to stay on one thing for very long. So that that was a conscious decision to like kind of lock me in a little bit. And hopefully there should be more music coming pretty soon. I have another album that's basically done and another one that's like three-quarters done behind that. So hopefully the next few years there'll be a lot more stuff.
Very good. Very good. Well, hopefully you get on the road and
Yeah,
we can all see you in a town near any of us. So that sounds
yeah.
good too.
I'll have to be down your way real soon.
Cool. Well, thanks for dropping by. Have a good one. Best wishes.
Thank you.